Hi, this is Jules with Starcaster Radio, and I have Erica, Naomi, and Barbara here with me today. And we are just reaching out, just holding you in love as we create this star community and step onto the New Earth platform. And we are going to start today with Naomi doing the light code activation. Thank you, Naomi.
Awesome. Well, it is just my honor to be able to share this today. And the activation came about from just the frequency coming in from the last few podcasts. And so I just kind of wanted to anchor in all these amazing frequencies. And so I just started writing an activation. So I just love to share it with you. So
excited. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I am too. So let's just start by taking some deep breaths. And we're standing in our power on the New Earth platform. We set an intention to activate our personal light code coordinates within the constellation of God. Streaming through space, traveling beyond time, find yourself where you exist in the gestational period of a 12-pointed star. Just about to birth, you feel the pain of labor, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. You feel the hormone surge as you feel the exhilaration of an era ending and a new era beginning. You trust in the divine matrix as you witness your intention manifest. You are safe. You are protected. You are inside the womb of light. The 12 points of your star protect your sacred heart, containing your seed crystal. All the points of your star fold up tightly around the heart. Your gestational star body feels as though you are a rose about to burst open. As you raise in frequency, your part of your star will begin to open. We begin by connecting our heart to the heart of our grandfather, the grandfather of the earth, and the grandfather of sacred geometry. When our heart connects to our grandfather, a flower of light blueprint is laid out inside our DNA, and our star point opens to 9 o'clock. We connect our heart to our grandmother, the grandmother of the earth, and grandmother to the seed of life. You were once carried in your grandmother's womb. She kisses you, imprinting a light code inside of your star seed. And you open your star point to 3 o'clock. We connect our heart to our Father, Father of the earth, and the leader of our star family. He hugs you and says, I will shine bright for you, brighter than any star in the sky, so you will always be able to find your way home. Just look for the North Star. And your star point opens to 12 o'clock. We connect our heart to our mother, Mother of the earth and Mother of creation. She unconditionally harvested you from her eggs and gave you a home star frequency, the South Star. We call into our star home frequency to come in, and we open another point of our star to 6 o'clock. We connect our heart to the hearts of the Council of Light members. We ask the Council of Light for a download of unity consciousness. And we open our point to 2 o'clock. We connect our heart to the members of the Galactic Council. And we open another star point to 7 o'clock. We connect our heart to all of our soul selves that we are conscious of and the ones we're not conscious of. And we open our star to 1 o'clock. We connect our heart to all of our spirit guides who can see beyond what we see. And we open another point to 10 o'clock. We connect all of our hearts to our angels as we ask for a download of love that we may love others as much as we love ourselves. And we open another point to 4 o'clock. We connect our hearts to the hearts of our ascended masters. We quickly begin feeling our heartbeat to the rhythm of the earth as the power, wisdom, and knowledge of the masters is activating the flower of life template held inside our DNA. And we open a star point to 11 o'clock. We connect our hearts to our Starcaster family, to those we've met and to those we haven't met yet. We are a people with a divine purpose who carries out God's vision until victory. Together, we will raise the consciousness of humanity and create an earth held in unity consciousness. Our flower of life template begins to spin. We ask that it spins at the appropriate speed for our personal light code. We travel through 4th dimension, and we penetrate the 5th dimension, and another star point opens to 5 o'clock. There is only 1 point left to have our star coordinates open in all directions, the 8, infinity. In gratitude, we open our heart to connect to the heart of infinity. And we bow in gratitude as we thank the infinity for holding up a mirror and allowing us to learn great lessons about ourselves. We make the intention to experience beyond infinity and experience what we have never experienced before. Through the power of our thoughts, the magnificent 8 opens into a gateway. We make the choice to walk through the gate and into the unknown. We voyage through and find ourselves inside the void within our sacred heart. Proudly, we vibrate unconditional love as we experience anchoring our star into the 5th dimension. A vessel of light opens up, connecting us to a great pyramid of light. And all of our star family is all around the pyramid. This pyramid light shines knowledge into our seed crystal. The seed crystal starts pulsating as our personal code of light is activated by the pyramid. Our code of light fuses with the pyramid light and a frequency is made that encompasses all the unique light codes of all the people of God. This light shall be called the Nunolicio light and holds the frequency of unity consciousness. Your personal light code is activated and will go on to activate you into higher forms of consciousness organically as your frequency continues to raise. Thank you, I love you, and it is done. And you shine brightly in the sky as a living mandala of light. The end.
Wow, Naomi, that was
Wow.
so awesome.
Beautiful. Ooh, getting chills all over.
Right.
I have tears. I'm crying.
Yeah. So much love and support is coming into us right now.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Oh, me too.
Mm-hmm. All right. Barbara, did you want to go ahead and do the reading for today?
Yes. I'll be reading from the Keys of Enoch. It is chapter 304 on page 379 for those who might have the book. I'm going to just read some selected passages, but it is amazing how it ties in with what Naomi has written, and it always seems to. And to let you know I did not know she wanted me to read and out of the keys today, and she asked me to, and before she told me what she had done, I had already picked the chapter, and it just perfectly ties into what her activation she has done. So the synchronicity is just amazing. Okay, here we go. The key speaks of how the Earth's species has a direct light arc, a direct light focus, which controls its biological rhythms. Man will soon learn that this life system is not directly independent or dependent upon the solar magnetic field paradigm to regenerate its biological rhythms. A new source of light is now reaching our solar system and interpreting Earth's magnetic field, altering the biological rhythms. This is forcing the species to leave behind its old time cell of perception on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. This must take place before the species can go into a new time cell of consciousness with a unified perception. As the arcs of light begin to change, a different light force is beginning to work with the electromagnetic forces. This is causing a magnetic field of the brain cavity to be significantly raised to a higher mental frequency, allowing man to receive whole light beings who will give instruction to the program of the next level of creation. Thus, having the brain of an electromagnetic computer, we will be forced to adapt to an enlarged electromagnetic spectrum or spin out of the old electromagnetic spiral into consciousness death if we cannot code into the new colors when we cross our alpha and omega light spectrum. The paradox of monetary planetary death will stand as a leveling force of the false powers of the planetary control, while the consciousness awakening of human and interdimensional intelligence will share the new day that will come upon them so quickly that death does not recognize that it has passed into life. The rite of passage will lead into the light, and the light shall devour the fire of death, as three-dimensional consciousness puts on the image of light. Then it shall be written that the faithful who were like the three servants of Daniel put on the image of light while in the fiery furnace and were coded into the light and into salvation. There it is.
Wow.
This is this is the blueprint of how all of this, how we're going to transform our bodies into bodies of light.
Okay, I have to, as you were reading, Barbara, I was like, this sounds, okay, and I totally forgot all about this, but I just re-edited my book and took out a lot of stuff that people weren't going to understand. And I have to just read this part because when you were talking about the different parts of the brain, and how there's a new light coming in, and I always talk about the new suns and how they're connected to the three glands in our brain. And as you were talking, I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a channeling that I had a couple years ago. And so if you guys don't mind, I'm going to read it because it's actually not going to be in the new book because I didn't think anybody would understand it. And then you just read this and I was like, that's exactly what I was talking about.
Yes, please read it.
So it's called Human Evolution. And let me just make sure that I found. You know what, Erica? I'm going to let you go ahead and start this while I look for it, because I'm not convinced I opened it to the right page. So instead of sitting here looking for it, I'll have you go ahead, and then I'll come back to it.
That's fine, because it's going to actually come up exactly where it needs to be, because there's so much energetically and astrologically happening that goes in with Naomi's activation and Barbara, the keys of Enoch that you chose to read today. Like, it's all connected to the point where, like, I am overwhelmed with joy, love, tears, and I'm spinning so fast that I think I'm floating. Like, I do not think I'm sitting on the ground. I actually moved to the ground to make sure I was still here. So let's start with what happened on Monday. So Monday was September 9th, 2019. It was a 999 day. And what that meant was that the great energy of crystal light, or what we call living light, was activated and opened the multidimensional 999 portal. So what does that mean for us? It means that we were flooded with energy to help close cycles, because 9 in numerical evolution is closure, and it's the end of a chapter, the end of an era, so that we can create again and new beginnings, a restart button, if you will. And so the energy that we as human consciousness created was setting us the stage for everything that was happening this week. So, just starting off the week with a 9, and a 999 was just releasing the old to make way for the new. So just marinate on that for a moment, because there were so many energetic cycles that we subconsciously were closing that we didn't even realize. So that was what happened on Monday. And then 2 days later on Wednesday was 9/11. And so I'm on the West Coast now. And so being part of the West Coast, there was such a sense of renewal and hope. And what happened on September 11th was 9/11/2019, which is a 111, which meant there was 111 days left to the end of the year. And the next time that we'll see 3 ones appear in unison in the date will be in 2110. And so we have it's a whole different century. So this is new beginnings from the portal after we closed on Monday. Wednesday, we opened up the new beginnings that is going to take place for the next 100 years. So that means spiritual harmony and alignment, instant manifestation of our wishes and dreams coming true. So we had a closure on Monday and an opening, a gateway on Wednesday. And then what's so amazing, I'm getting full-body chills as I talk about it. This is so amazing. Mm-hmm. So now, September, starting on the 10th, so again, we closed the portals. The portals were opening for the closing on Monday. Starting September 10th, which was Tuesday, all the way through the 19th of September, which is next week's Thursday, is what's considered a palindrome. And what a palindrome is that all the dates read the same forward as they do backwards, which is a rare magical opportunity to close and reset major life chapters. So what does this mean for you? This means everything comes back around for karmic completion. It's a time for clearing, a time for healing, and a time for finding balance. Again, full body chills. And then so that started on Tuesday. And then today is the full harvest moon on Friday the 13th. And that full harvest moon on Friday the 13th is in Pisces during a Virgo month. So what does that mean? That means that we are taking the creation and the imagination of Pisces, the seed that we planted in March, and we are being called to service and action and to grow that seed in the month of September. And that's today on Friday the 13th. And what's so auspicious about today is that Friday the 13th people think is negative, but it's a beautiful day, an auspicious day of positive energy. And the next full moon that happens on Friday the 13th won't happen for another 20 years. So the seed that we plant today, that we cultivate and grow, that actually started with us back in March, is going to take the next 20 years to bloom into the magnificent tree that we are. Wow. And that's your astrology tip of the week.
Wow, that's a big tip.
I mean, it's so much energetically is happening, and people, for me, I'm feeling nauseous and dizzy and almost definitely not grounded, but there's just so much energetically happening that, for people that think oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going crazy or I'm getting sick or I don't feel well, it's because we're trying to find the balance in the spin of the earth, in the axle as we rotate.
And it's all changing.
It's all changing. We're ending a chapter and we're starting new beginnings.
Yes. We're moving into this new light cycle that that's going to allow us to step into our light bodies.
Yes.
And yeah, that is just awesome how it all tied together. Wow.
So awesome.
Thank you, Erica.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the gift to share.
We're in this place where we can really take advantage of these frequencies. Do you have some suggestions, Erica, of how we can use these frequencies to advance or make our, bring energy into certain parts of our lives?
Honestly, I keep getting the message we need to be in our bodies, whether that's hiking in nature, whether that's going for a jog, whether that's dancing under the full moon. Get in your bodies because we have all the answers inside of us. Our soul lives within inside of us. So how do we connect to our soul? We get in our physical body because only can we grow to the 5th dimension if we connect to our 3rd dimension physical self.
Wow.
So whether that's singing, whether that's knitting, whether that's, whether you draw, whether you write poetry, whether you journal, whether you get a download for activation, just connect to your physical self, and that will attach to your 5th dimensional soul, and then that's what's going to help us grow.
Maybe that is why, and when I do my art, I'm in my physical body. I'm using my physical brain. I'm using it all, but that's when I'm the happiest. That's when I feel the most connection to my higher self and the most expression by doing that. And, I've never heard it put that away, but that surely makes sense.
I love that.
So, Julie, did you find the passage you wanted to read to us?
I didn't find the exact one that I wanted, but, just because we're talking about, it keeps going back to the 3 suns. And so this isn't the one where it talks about how the 3 suns are connected to the 3 glands in our brain, but I'm going to go ahead and read it anyways just because I feel like it kind of, or at least the part that I found. So I'm going to go ahead and just read the Trinity of the Suns. Okay, so here it is. The Trinity of the Sun is coming into an alignment. Each sun holds a frequency and electric charges that will activate the codes of the DNA for all who are ready. The sun of the Earth will spin with the hydrogen atom connected to Saturn. The old sun is transforming into an energy center that will connect to the fluid function of the Earth moon. This will allow the old sun to transform into genetic rebirthing of cosmic souls connected to the Earth. The earthly sun has been damaged by programming released in lower vibrations. This event will bring the old sun fully into the vibration of the new sun. This will assist the light givers and the gatekeepers to the next level of transformation. The event will allow more Christ light to enter the cells and bring you to a higher vibration. This is connected to the rebirth of Christ consciousness. The Christ sun, or the second sun, is the sun that's moving into the old sun and will change the earthly plane. The Christ sun will be gravitating into the old sun. This energy is awakening humanity to the spiritual teachings within the DNA. The transformation will happen in 11 cycles. The last cycle will be in the vibration of the Trinity. It will look like a triangle created by 3 suns connecting the star in the core of the Earth. The 11-day cycles will each connect to the Christ consciousness, opening the sacred heart with electric charges stored in alignment of the suns. The energy grid of the 2 suns will fully align, allowing the Christ consciousness return to the earthly plane. The rebirth of Christ consciousness is within the sun. This is awakening social consciousness to Christ consciousness. And the heart will begin to function at a higher electric current, connected fully to the Christ sun. The old sun becomes completely fluid, allowing all old programming to to dissolve into the new sun. The second coming of the Christ Son will keep the doors to the eye of God open for those who wish to receive the light. The light of the Christ Son will absorb into all human forms that open to the grace of God and allow the transformation of humanity, becoming the light of God through the frequency of Christ. The third Son is the Son of God. This Son will come into the Christ Son and absorb all that is left of the old Son on November 11th, 2027. This day is the day that is in alignment with the frequencies needed to fully bring in the frequency of God consciousness. Those who hold the frequency of God will walk through the Son of God, walk through the fire, and dissolve all that is not of God.
Wow. And what's ironic, too, is there's a large portion of the keys in this particular chapter I didn't read because it was so long, but it talks about the sun and how it's going to be changed, and basically says the same thing you just said.
Oh, my gosh.
Well,
that's so crazy.
It's what's awesome is that when we were at Cliffside, we took so much information from the sun. And I'm noticing that when I moved to the Pacific Northwest, the same downloads, different evolved downloads, are the exact same thing with every sunset that I have been so fortunate to experience. Like, we're feeding the light. We're feeding our eyes with the light of the sun.
Right. And it's changing the DNA. And it talks about that. Yes. And how all that is coming about, allowing the DNA to bind or transcribe. It causes the DNA to become unrecognized in the preliminaries of the basic activity, and causes the hydrogen double bond to break and create a cyclobutane ring around the dimmers. Anyhow, it's just a passage I saw, and it came to my eyes, and talking about how all of this stuff is working.
Cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And
I
what's even...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Please go. No.
I was going to say, I just did an activation on Patty Melbeck's show, and our Melbeck's show, and I talked about, it was about activating the fountain of youth, and there was a part in there where I said that the hydrogen bonds would break so that more light could come in. And, it's so funny how the keys of Enoch and the channelings from the Council of Light are so in alignment, it blows my mind.
Right.
Yes, it does. And it just goes to show you that we are the keys, and what you're channeling and the activations that we're receiving and all of the astrology that's coming together forms this one big picture. And it's just in different aspects of, but it's all the same. And it's quite amazing.
It's amazing how our third dimensional programming taught us to not look at the sun, right? Because it's going to burn your eyes. When just the opposite is happening. Like, our fifth dimensional self is telling us, feed your eyes with the light of the sun so that our DNA can change. Our frequency can change. So that's a really good example of how to tap into the fifth dimensional frequency while breaking away the third dimensional pattern of programming.
Yes. Yeah, and because this transformation has to happen in order for us to be able to move into our light bodies, and it says also in the keys that the balance of energy coupling with the proton-electron-proton grid will be switched to the electron-proton-electron grid. And that all ties into the Christ energy being fed down through the ley lines and reconnecting and re-energizing and transforming our bodies to where we can become our full, whole light body and escape the physical death that we've had to endure many times.
So let's just ask to connect to, the Christ Son and just absorb the frequencies that will assist us all in raising our frequency.
Mm-hmm.
and expanding our consciousness and just fully bringing in that living light, the rainbow light. And I think this is something that I'm going to start asking for daily, because I feel like it's so important to absorb these frequencies. And, and I keep, in all these interviews that I've been doing, I keep offering crystals that hold the 7 elements or the living light, because I feel like now more than ever absorbing those frequencies is so important. So I'm just going to, I don't know, I just wanted to say something about that, because, part of the transition is just to say that you're ready. Like, I want it. Bring it on.
Amen.
Yes, for sure.
I'm ready.
I'm still ready.
I'm past ready. I'll take that back. I don't want to jump ahead. I just want to move at a balanced rate.
Maybe we should add that to the prayer, like asking for the activation at a balanced frequency.
Right.
Balance in with joy and love.
Yes.
Right.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
Mention. I always get the vision that as we go through this transformation, that the heart is the first organ to shift into, I guess you could say, the new human heart, or the light heart. And it's like the actual release of the need to have oxygen. And as we so I keep asking for the frequency that I vibrate in is connected to the new heart. And I really do feel the shift in my physical body of what that feels like. So I just wanted to share that. I don't really completely understand what it means, but
that's beautiful,
a frequency that I have really been connecting to, and it's going to be one of those things where we actually have to go through it.
Well, but Julie, the heartbeat is the first sign of life in a baby.
That's
you
true.
Check the heartbeat. So as we rebirth into this new earth and our new physical body, it's the heart that shows us that we are being born.
Yes.
Wow.
That we're becoming physical.
Yeah, and Naomi, that was in your activation.
I think she's zoned out. I think she's left the earth.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of have.
It was definitely in Naomi's activation, in the womb and in the heart and all of that.
Yes. Yes.
We're all connected.
Absolutely. And and I feel like that was the big theme for this week for me, was to really absorb what it's really easy for me to absorb the frequency of oneness and the expansion of oneness when I'm just sitting and feeling the frequency of my environment, or of just a moment of stillness. But then to actually take that into action and into daily life and that sort of thing, it shifts the frequency a little bit. And so it was really it was a really powerful thing for me to connect to these energies. And then and Erica and I deciding to change the platform of Infinite Gold and the prices, and just really bringing everybody in together as a community, and then having something for everyone. And that's just and we're going to continue down that path. And but there's something, it's like I had that dream I've talked about a couple of times, of when I'm sitting on the earth and I have roots that are just coming out of my body into the ground, and I'm intertwined with all the other roots of humanity. And that, underneath the surface, how we're so intertwined and feeding off of each other. But then on the top of the earth, we're all our individual trees, but that we're actually a living, breathing system that is creating us on this earth. And so I just keep, tapping into what that frequency is, and how even just the littlest decisions and the littlest acts of kindness feed that system and brings it to a higher frequency. So I don't know, I wanted to just bring in that visualization and just knowing how even things that we think are so small are really so big, because it's all adding to that living, breathing system of oneness.
Well, Julie, the aspen tree, that's exactly what it is. It's one tree with many shoots. But I saw a documentary on that, the whole root system is tied with each other. So it's just one tree. So the visualization, of like when you let's say when you hurt someone, it goes through those roots and it hurts other people. And when you love someone, it does the same thing. And that's why sharing this information in the light and the energy of the God consciousness, of the Christ consciousness, is so powerful, because it's going from our bodies, our physical bodies, it's going through into those root systems, and it is feeding on everyone because we're all connected.
It's lovely. I just, it's so powerful. The energy that's here right now is so cosmic and so powerful,
yes,
but also just so earthly, grounded at the
rooted,
same time.
Yes, exactly. We can be cosmic and rooted and grounded because we are all one.
Yes.
Which is exactly what our chakra system is.
Right, and it's so simple. I know as human beings we tend to try to make it complicated, but it's really not. It's a very simple thing. And once we understand that simplicity, then it's not a mystery. It's all of a sudden it totally makes sense. And that's why we have been in this confusion and in this where the ego is trying to make everything complicated, because it makes you need that ego in order to figure anything out. When in essence, you don't need that. And once you move past needing that ego, then it becomes crystal clear how simple the whole transformation is.
That's lovely. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Naomi?
No, with all of these conversations today, it's just like really affecting my breathing. Like I'm able to take such a deep breath and exhale, and it just feels so good. And I'm just going to really focus on just the system being as one and just sharing these frequencies.
There's one thing I would like to share that happened to me this week. I was sitting on the back porch, and my husband and I, we were talking, and all of a sudden I felt this disconnect. That's the only thing I could really relate it to, is like disconnect. And I felt like that I was in a different place looking at this person sitting next to me on the porch and hearing what he was saying, but not really being a part of the earth anymore, or a part of what I perceived to be the third dimensional reality. And I remember thinking to myself, this is how it is. This is what we're doing. And I also realized I couldn't stay here, but they were just giving me a insight into how easily we can transform into this other reality. And it wasn't traumatic, and it wasn't scary. It wasn't any of the things that your ego mind tries to tell you it's going to be that makes you fearful to move there. So it was a real awakening for me. And I'm trying to remember what day that was on, but it seems like it was Monday. I can't remember for sure. But
Barbara,
anyhow,
I've been having those same moments also. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I do too.
There you go. And so I feel like all this energy that's coming in is really allowing us to move in and out of this third dimensional to the fifth or whatever dimension we're comfortable in before we make the actual total transformation.
The energy around what you're describing is so pure. It feels so pure and comforting to me right now.
Yeah, it was to me too. That's why I wanted to share it with you guys, and I'm not surprised that y'all are doing the same thing, going through the same thing. But it's comforting to know that this is what to be able to identify what's happening. So maybe anyone who's listening out there is probably doing the same thing, and maybe didn't realize what it was, or just thinking, it was something physical, and to share that and make them, to allow them to realize it's not. It's what we're all going through, and just to be at peace with it.
It's releasing attachment.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
I love it. Whew. All right. Well, does anybody else have anything? I think I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm spinning. I can't function right now.
I'm not. Well, all of you come back down to earth. We're not ready to leave yet, so yeah.
Oh my God!
I bow my head. I bow my head in grace. Like, that's all I can do is bow my head in grace.
Yes, beautifully said.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's all I
I'm
have.
just going to randomly open up and, I'm just going to read this little passage that I just opened up to, and it's actually one that I think Barbara picked out a long time ago. And it's, so we're just going to close with this. It's what I opened to, so that's what we're going to close with. But before that, I just want to just tell you all how much I love you, and I can't even say, my heart is so big with the amount of love and support of our community, and we are going to continue to expand, and there will be a time where we're going to start having the ability for people to call in and share their stories or ask questions. So we're constantly shifting and changing, and just namaste to all of you, and I love you.
So much love.
I love you. Yes.
Okay, so this is Temporary Home. This is a song by Carrie Underwood. Temporary Home. This is our temporary home. It is not where we belong. Windows and rooms that we're passing through. This is just a stop on the way to where we are going. I'm not afraid because I know this is our temporary home. Old man, hospital bed, this room is filled with people he loves. The whispers, don't cry for me. And I'll see you all someday. He looks up and says, I can see God's face. This is my temporary home. It is not where I belong. Windows and rooms that I'm passing through. This was just a stop on the way to where I am going. I'm not afraid because I know this was my temporary home.
So perfect.
Lovely. Okay.
I can't
all right,
speak.
You all, until next week. Did you have something you wanted to say?
No.
Okay. All right.
Light and love.
Love
everybody.
you all.
Light
We'll
and
see you
love.
next
Love
week.
you.
Love you too.